Chapter 3. The Love-Hate Relationship with the System. After completing his enrollment, Anlin arrived at his assigned accommodation. This time, he was genuinely amazed once again. No wonder it's the #1 cultivation academy in the 9 provinces. The perks are incredible. Every new student comes equipped with an independent 2-story building. The building was constructed with a wooden frame, and it was fully furnished inside. Of course, don't even think about things like computers, televisions, air conditioning, or washing machines. Most of the furniture here was made of wood. Anlin found that this scene was quite in line with what he had imagined from reading cultivation novels on Earth. Despite the lack of modern furniture, having a personal villa upon enrollment made him extremely happy. The allocation of these buildings was based on class, and Su Xiulan's building happened to be right next to Anlin's. As the saying goes, near water, one's house is first to receive the moon. Anlin was well aware of this and couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. After all, Su Xiulan was a kind and beautiful person, and she didn't mind that he was a bit of a loser. Where else could he find such a good companion? Humph, I have the war god system. I'm destined to become the overlord of the cultivation world. Su Xiulan, I will prove myself and make you look up to me. A fire ignited in Anlin's eyes, and a sense of determination welled up within him. So what if he was at the first stage of the Del body? If Xiao Yan could become a martial emperor, why couldn't he become a cultivation emperor? With these thoughts in mind, Anlin's lips curled up, displaying a confident expression. He sat on his bed, opened the war god system in his mind, and began his extraordinary cultivation journey. The interface of the war god system was very simple, with 3 main sections: realms, techniques, and skills. Oh, and there was a strange section called special missions. The sections for techniques, skills, and special missions were all grayed out, indicating that they could only be accessed after reaching the 7th stage of the Del body. Anlin looked a bit helpless and turned his attention to the realms section. First stage of the Del body, condition, 10 push-ups. My goodness! Anlin's mouth dropped open in disbelief. Is this mission a freebie? Anlin reluctantly did 10 push-ups on the floor. Soon after, his bones made cracking sounds, and his muscles suddenly became extremely sore. After a while, he gasped for air and stood up, drenched in sweat. I've become stronger. Anlin felt a noticeable change in the strength within his body. He had never felt so energized before. There was a kind of energy, a presence, wandering in the world, and he could sense it. Is this what they call qi? It's amazing. Anlin realized that from this moment on, he was officially a cultivator. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and continued to check the war god system interface. Second stage of the Del body, condition, 10 plus 10 push-ups. This? Are they joking? Anlin said, although he was smiling. At this rate, I'll be the first at the Cultivation Union Academy by tomorrow. Anlin let out a confident but somewhat absurd laugh. After completing 20 push-ups, Anlin was drenched in sweat again, but he felt even stronger. He clenched his fists and slammed them on the nearby table. The table shattered with his punch. Ha ha ha, I'm invincible. The war god system is truly amazing. I love you. Anlin laughed heartily. He continued to check the system and saw that it now said, 3rd stage of the Del body, condition, 10 multiplied by 10 push-ups. Ha ha ha, the difficulty has increased a bit. Anlin now did push-ups with a smile on his face. Soon, he completed 100 push-ups, and his realm advanced to the 3rd stage of the Del body. This system was indeed like a cheat. If others knew how he was advancing in realms, they would be envious. Anlin felt that he could quickly reach the peak of his life. He cheerfully opened the system interface and saw the requirement to advance to the next realm. More push-ups. He was about to jump up with joy. 4th stage of the Del body, condition, 10 to the power of 10 push-ups. 10 to the power of 10 push-ups. Anlin was completely stunned for 10 seconds. Let me calculate. 10 to the power of 10 is... Wait, let me see. After a while, he figured it out. 10 to the power of 10 equals 10 billion. which is 100 billion push-ups. I can do 100,000 push-ups in a day. In that case, it would take me over 270,000 years. This. Alan's eyes were vacant, and he sat on the bed, as if he had lost all hope. He opened the War God system and found that, apart from the cultivation interface, all other sections were grayed out. In other words, he would have to do push-ups for over 200 years to level up. No, he won't even live to be 200 years old. Tears welled up in Alan's eyes. What kind of system is this? Is it trying to lead me to a dead end? Just when Alan was feeling utterly hopeless, he suddenly noticed something. Wait! I don't have to rely on the system to cultivate. I can do it on my own. Alan had been scared by the system's terrifying requirements, but now he realized that every time he advanced a realm on his own, the system's mission requirements would change. In other words, now that he had increased his realm by himself, the next mission might be much simpler. Alan sighed. That must be it. Otherwise, what's the point of this system? However, a new problem arose. How does one cultivate in the world of cultivation? Knock, knock, knock. Alan, feeling anxious, knocked on the wooden door. The door opened, revealing an elegant figure in front of Alan. The woman had long black hair cascading over her shoulders, and she seemed to have just taken a bath, with a few droplets of water still clinging to her hair. The moment the door opened, Alan caught a faint, refreshing fragrance in the air. Alan, why are you here? The woman clearly didn't expect Alan to visit her at this time, and there was a hint of surprise in her tone. Alan felt a bit embarrassed and smiled awkwardly. Su Xiaolan, I'm really sorry for bothering you so late. Actually, I have something very important to discuss with you. Oh, what is it? Is it a secret? Do you want to come into my room and talk quietly? Su Xiaolan's eyes sparkled with anticipation, clearly intrigued by Alan's mention of something very important. No, that's not necessary. Out of modesty, Alan instinctively waved his hands to decline the invitation, but the next moment, he regretted it. Why be modest at a time like this? A girl is inviting you into her room, and you actually decline? Oh. Alan couldn't help but sigh. What's wrong? Su Xiaolan saw Alan's sudden dejection and recalled his performance during the enrollment and realm testing today. This made her feel sympathetic toward Alan, and she said, Why don't you come in and tell me inside? If I can help, I'll do my best. Really? Alan felt a bit dejected for missing the opportunity earlier, but quickly agreed this time. Once inside the room, Su Xiaolan brewed a pot of tea for Alan. He couldn't name the tea, but just the aroma wafting from the teapot gave him a refreshing feeling. Both of them sat at the table, sipping tea, and finally began discussing the matter at hand. So, you can tell me about the very important matter now, Su Xiaolan said with grace, holding a teacup. She took a sip and said casually. Alan nodded solemnly and looked at Su Xiaolan. The atmosphere somehow became tense, and Su Xiaolan also felt her heart racing. Alan said, I'm currently facing a bottleneck. Su Xiaolan nodded in agreement, signaling for Alan to continue. I have no idea how to cultivate in this world. Can you teach me? Su Xiaolan had just taken a sip of tea, and she ended up spitting it all over Alan's face.